All right, boys and girls, welcome back to Rise of Kingdoms. My name is Touch of Malice, and it has been quite a while since I've brought you guys some Rise of Kingdoms content. Some big things have happened, some super unexpected things have happened, and that is on top of me potentially not being able to kill a level 5 barbarian fort. I have migrated back to KvK2. Yes, some of you might remember this account where I had ran Joan Teada in KvK3 as my first Sock March. This was my Sock Sleeper account, which I slept for a period of time. When I logged back on, I was able to migrate back to KvK1, taking YSS, Teada, CJ, Chandragupta, Moctezuma, and yeah. I was able to take these commanders back to KvK1, and it put me at a bit of an advantage, not a supreme advantage, but a little bit. I had endgame commanders in Ark of Osiris, which I was able to use in Season 1, and it did put my account in a position where I would have stronger pairings in future KvKs as soon as we enter this season. Now, at that time, Teada and CJ were not Season 2 heroes, commanders. They were only Season 3 and beyond. What's interesting about this time is that Teada has been worked to be usable in Season 2, and so is CJ. And on top of that, CJ now has a 3-target AoE with smite damage. Smite damage. So this KvK2 is going to be very interesting, and I have a feeling this might be one of my most successful KvK2s I've probably ever played. I've played a lot of KvK2s, and only 2 of them have ever gone good. So, without further ado, let's jump into the video. So, to kick things off, I was bored one night and I was like, hey, you know what? I want to log back on to Touch of Malice. I just kind of want to dick around in Canyon, see what I got, see who's in my kingdom. I don't know, whatever. I logged back on. And as you guys know, when you are offline for a little bit, as you guys know that when you are offline for a certain period of time, when you come back, you get this. You get the welcome back package. You get this thing, which is actually new, by the way. You get your returnee shop. You can get a returnee wheel. Now, the weird thing about this welcome back feature is that they reworked it insane. Depending on how old your kingdom is, depending on how much power you have, and depending on how long you've been offline, you're going to see a lot of different things. Now, this is just a random ass farm that I haven't logged into for a while. This is what you're going to get potentially. Now, when I had logged back in on Touch of Malice, I had actually received a team migration option. This was an option where the captain of a team migration group, this one being Altair, a captain can gather a group of up to 10 players, and those 10 players can get special once in a time approval migration from any targeted kingdom. Now, the first time I had slept, I was able to migrate back to KvK1, as you guys know. This time I was only able to go back to KvK2. So I saw this guy's announcement. He says, "Hey, I already got permission." That's a really good sign when you're doing team migration, is if you already have, if the team captain already has permission from the targeted kingdom, you're basically set. As long as you have like at least viable marches for KvK2, you're probably going to get approved. So I applied. 3742, I applied. It took us 4 hours before we actually migrated through, but the king approved us, and it's a very special immigration approval. The king can specifically approve each individual players and how many players he wants. He doesn't have to approve all 10 players. No, we applied and we got 5 players approved out of 10. 10 is just the max amount of players that you can apply in team migration. Now that brings us here. Now you are sped up to what has been going on with Touch of Malice a little bit, and you understand how I was able to migrate back. We are currently in Kingdom 3742. And I want to say, shout out to Kingdom 3742. I kid you not, these people welcomed me right off the bat. Like, in the Lines chat, I was like, hey guys, I got a massive hospital bill. Can you help me out? Instantly, instantly, guys were coming through, giving me resources, telling me welcome in the chat. We're doing raid, we're doing barbarian forts, we're doing Silk Road. They got me up in the Discord. I'm gonna link the Discord down in the comments if you guys want to join up. They got me up in the Discord. Super awesome bunch of people so far at 3742. It is a DC Kingdom. I want to let you guys know this is my first time ever being in a DC Kingdom. Throughout the entirety of my time playing Rise of Kingdoms, I have always been in Imperium and A Seed Kingdoms forever. I've never been in a CD. I don't even think I've ever been in a BD before. Yeah, so I'm in a DC Kingdom. Now, the marches that I'm going to be running for this KvK2, I'm only going to be running 2 marches, 2 primary marches, and then we'll talk about the secondaries after. First things first, CJ revamped in KvK2. Gotta try him out this KvK. I gotta try him out. I get that he's only 5111, but here's the thing. Get this. Because CJ is doing a smite damage AoE, I have a feeling that he might be really good with Jonavar, as she's going to be bringing a 25% normal damage boost. A little bit of a heal. Like, this heal is, quite frankly, honestly not that good. However, where she shines is going to be the 25% normal damage buff and her active skill. CJ, as you know, having the smite tree, not the skill tree nor the support tree, he's kind of lacking a rage engine. He really is lacking a rage engine. Now, Jonavar, as you guys know, every time she casts her active skill, up to 5 nearby allied troops, including your commanders, are going to gain extra rage 50 per second. This is going to help CJ pump out more active skills, which in turn is going to be an awesome debuff because with fight or flight, I'm going to be reducing all rage by enemies I hit by 45. And CJ is dealing an AoE. So with Jonavar pumping out more of his active skills, I'm going to be deducting a lot of rage. Not to mention, the 1500 AoE is going to be buffed a lot by her 25% normal damage buff. And on top of that, every 4 seconds, because she's pumping out extra rage, it's going to be a fast skill cycle. She's going to be giving your infantry units 30% health for 4 seconds. CJ is very lacking on the defensive stats, especially at 5111. So, I believe that CJ Jonavar, as my first march that I'm going to send out into the KvK battles, I believe that it has potential to be good. I think it's going to straight up be good. Is it going to be a meta? I don't think it's going to be a meta because you're still using purple heroes. Is it going to be a close meta? Not with CJ at 5111, but if you have an expertise level 60 CJ and then you're using Jonavar as your secondary, I think you have potential to make it a close meta march. At the very least viable. It's got to be at least viable, but we're going to test that out. Now, my secondary march, and this one's actually my most powerful one, is going to be a Teada primary. Now, I would rather I was gonna do Teada Belisarius, but then I thought to myself, I was like, look, I get it, man. You know, Belly's got great defense and he's got really good march speed whenever he exits combat. Nice debuff. I don't know if his direct damage factor is worth me running him in 2025, especially now that we have more heroes in KvK2. So I decided to go with a Teada primary and an Ethelfled secondary. Look, Ethel, honestly, if you have her expertise for KvK1, that's awesome. If you have her expertise in KvK2, she's still going to be good. And honestly, she's got a couple viable pairs when you're entering your first KvK3 and your first KvK4. Ethel is tried and true. This is no secret that in 2025, there's definitely some marchers that you can use with Ethelfled, and there's viability there. The reason why I'm going with Teada and Ethelfled is because, honestly, Teada is just bringing a boatload of defensive stats, solid heal, solid freaking heal, little bit of normal damage taken reduction and skill damage taken reduction, which is honestly going to be super nice. The fact that he's got a 10% normal damage reduction in KvK2. Skill damage would be better because I actually think skill damage is more of a meta in KvK2, but it's just going to be nice to have that normal damage taken reduction. Teada being the one who is bringing all the defensive stats, Ethelfled is there to just strictly pump out her 5 target AoE. 5 target AoE, 5 target AoE, it's that simple. Less counterattack damage taken reduction. And the build I do have on Teada, I am going to rework it and try to grab this one instead of Rallying Cry. Instead of Rallying Cry, I'm going to grab this one where whenever your troops launches a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to gain a 5% march speed bonus for 2 seconds. The reason being is that this is going to help me stay on target in the open field. So, yeah. I don't know, boys. I'm looking pretty excited for KvK2. Those are going to be my 2 main marches. And, oh yeah, let's not to mention that transitioning to KvK3, I'm just going to run an Arthur primary at 5522. Arthur primary with Teada. And then I'm probably just going to go with a Ragnar CJ just for a starting point. Enough about my marches, though. Let's talk about my tech. And this is where I am in trouble. Can you believe that even migrating back to KvK2 with endgame commanders, I'm still at quite a disadvantage when it comes to technology research, which makes sense because, like, look, they're not going to have people migrate back at, like, to KvK2 at, like, 30 million power just because they slept. That would be, you'd be a beast. You'd be a beast. I have a feeling that the minimum requirement to migrate back to KvK2 after sleep, it is probably 20 million to 25 million potentially, but don't quote me on that. With my research, for military, I'm still doing scrotum for my infantry. Cataphracts got stirrups and plate armor. I'm only going to be researching infantry and cavalry for the next good bit. I do not plan on messing around with archers at all. I'm VIP 10. It's very expensive to get marches to a viable level. I think it's really just wise right now for KvK2 for me to work on my infantry and cav. And then once we hit KvK3, just go all in on my cav, run cav from KvK3 through my first KvK4. And then once we hit KvK5, bring infantry back into the mix. That's my plan for research. So for KvK2, I will be going back and forth between infantry tech and cavalry tech. Come of KvK3, I'm going to go all in on cav. Come of KvK4, I'm going to go all in on cavs. And then KvK5, I will bring infantry back into the mix, as I just said. Just making it clear. That's where I'm at on my tech. VIP 10, I'm getting 1 gold head every day, and I'm not too far off of VIP 11, which is going to be bringing me some nice stats. When it comes to equipment, I'm at a pretty juicy spot. I gotta be honest with you. I've got a lot of materials right here. Where's my materials? I don't have a boatload of materials, but I'm in a good spot that if I don't craft anything stupid that I don't really need from KvK 2 to 3 and 4, that once I'm in Season of Conquest, I will have a lot of equipment to craft end game gear. So that's really nice. We're going to go over what I'm looking at for resources for this KvK2. Yeah, our boy is kind of hurting. Your boy is kind of hurting. I'm not doing too good for resources right now, guys. I've got a total of 382 million food, 443 wood, 65 million gold. So you know I can't go super crazy with the research, but speed ups is where I shine right now. 169 days of training speeds. That is going to go all into pre-KvK. As soon as pre-KvK comes, for KvK2, by the way, I'm going to do this in KvK2. I'm going to go all out on training speeds when we're in pre-KvK troop training. Why am I going to burn all speeds in KvK2? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If you have 169 days in KvK2, this is honestly a very good opportunity for you to train a lot of troops, go through KvK2. As long as I don't get zeroed, and as long as we don't lose too devastatingly, I should be fine for troops. I can hoard all of KvK3, and then make another troop push for KvK4, because I will only be training cavalry troops by that time. So I think mathematically it's going to be good if I burn. Am I gonna burn all of my speeds on training? No, I'm gonna burn probably 80%. I'm probably gonna burn all my training speeds until I have like 10 days left. And that's where I'm at for resources and training speeds. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to go over my equipment. So, you know, my infantry march is very, very basic equipment. I don't plan on making a huge investment into infantry because I know that after KvK2, I'm not going to be using infantry until I hit Season of Conquest, and more importantly, until I hit KvK5. So I'm not too worried about infantry. This is really this infantry march is really just there as a filler march. A march it's just there to burn troops and just keep pressure on the enemy. So that's my equipment. Armaments, super mid tier, whatever. Belarus, evasive, resistant, okay infantry stats. It's honestly not good at all, but it's not good at all. I'll be honest with you. My Cav March, talented, Ash of Dawn. I'm gonna be throwing on some more equipment later on. Purple stuff, and then I'm rocking Mountain Crushers just because I kind of like that extra bump of attack. I don't give a damn if people say attack is the worst stat in the game. Oh, attack. Oh, you pushed attack. Oh, like I don't give a fuck. Okay, attack is nice to just increase your damage output. There's lots of other ways you can get defense and health. If you want my personal opinion, I think the best stats in the entire game are actually march speed and health. I don't think it's health and defense. I actually believe it's march speed and health. I think march speed is king in the open field, and health is just overall going to make you last longer. So that's my personal stats, and the best stats in the game is that it's health and march speed. But I do like attack there. I have grown as I've been playing Rise of Kingdoms. I've grown to appreciate attack. So that is that. This video has been very long. If you are still watching until the very end, I want to say thank you. My name is Touch of Malice, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.